Hey, what's up, entrepreneurs? This video I'm going to talk about answering in a reasonable amount of time, and I think that that's a challenge for a lot of people, and I think that we don't realize how detrimental it can be if it's not quickly, and so that's what we're going to talk about today. And I think it's important. This one came up for me when I was using a business or service, and they're answering me every couple weeks. And I know that might sound not like a long time to some people, and that may sound like a short amount of time to some people, but I feel like answering. So for me, I was using a service, I was paying a paid service, and I had an issue, and it was more urgent. I felt more urgent than they did. It's a bigger company. And I was asking questions, and I needed something fixed, or I needed some help, and they were answering me every 2 weeks. Like, it was like every 2 weeks they would answer, every 2 weeks. So I'd send a message, I would call, no one answered, left messages, no one answered. And then a couple weeks later, there's my response. And I feel like we shouldn't have to, like, I'm not like a mean or angry person, and I feel like we shouldn't have to be to kind of get results, what we want. And I finally told them the third or fourth time, I said, it's unreasonable for you to answer me every 2 weeks. And then that's what I said, and I was very clear, I was very short, I was to the point, and then I started getting answers right away. And it was like, why did I have to be stern to get what I wanted, or to get results? So for you as a business owner, I think it's important to understand that answering people in a reasonable amount of time, and I understand that reasonable amount of time is different for everyone. So someone could be like, oh, a reasonable amount of time is once a week, or once every 3 weeks, or once a month, which I think is a bit ridiculous, especially when we're sitting in front of our phones with our emails on our phones, with our messages on our phones that are accessible immediately. But I think it's important to understand that you'll lose business if you don't answer people right away. And I don't mean immediately. Like, we have to be reasonable. Our expectations have to be reasonable. Our customers' expectations have to be reasonable. But the sooner you answer, the better. So if you're trying to work out a deal with someone, then the sooner you answer, the better chance that you're going to be able to work out a deal. If your customer has a question, if you wait a week to answer them, I got to tell you, you're going to lose a customer. So, and then I know sometimes people want, like, if you send an email, they send an email right back. You send an email, they answer right away. So I understand it has to be reasonable. Like, I try to answer once or twice a day, unless you're having an ongoing conversation. Then you have an ongoing conversation, and you say maybe a phone call would be easier to iron this out. I know people don't use phones these days, but that would make your life a whole lot easier, and it will help resolve problems or questions. Or you can say, I'm leaving now, I'll talk to you later, or I'll help you more with this problem later, instead of just disappearing. I think that's an issue as well because of how we use social media. But if you want to run a successful business, I think we have to answer in a reasonable amount of time. And again, that's different for everyone. I can't say answer within 5 minutes or answer within 20 minutes. You know what some people don't understand is that with most apps, like most social media apps, you're penalized if you don't answer right away, like within 30 minutes, within 20 minutes. And actually on Facebook, for example, got a big old truck driving by here. You can see it right there. A plug for Jack Daniels. If you don't, so you're penalized if you don't answer right away. So on Facebook, for example, it actually shows like this person is a quick responder, and it helps with your algorithms if you answer right away. So as a business owner, entrepreneur, you have to understand that if you don't answer, you're only kind of shooting yourself in the foot, not just for your customers, but for your pages as well. So that's something I wanted to bring up. And the other example I have is I tried to work with someone in the past. This was a handful of years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. And it seemed like a great business connection. And we had these great ideas, and we throw ideas back and forth. And they would answer every week or 10 days. And it was super challenging to try to work something out when it was that far. And I mean, I guess we have to look back at everyone has different situations, everyone has different priorities. Maybe in this situation their priority wasn't to work out a deal or to work out something that was going to be beneficial for both of our businesses, but it just didn't work out because they would answer, a week, almost 2 weeks later, and I would almost forget our conversation. And so that it just didn't work out. And I think you have to understand that many times people are like, oh, that relationship didn't work out, or we couldn't figure out a way to come together and grow our audiences, or benefit our products or services. But understand your actions have to, I'm not quite sure the word, your actions have to represent growth. They have to represent excitement. If you're excited to do a deal, then answer right away. It doesn't have to be every day, or you don't have to answer every day or every couple of days, but if you're waiting 7 days, 10 days, 14 days to kind of get back to someone, I think they're going to lose interest, and you're going to lose interest as well. So understand that's going to either help your business or it's going to be a negative part of your business. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that if you are a person that answers every 7 days, every 14 days, every 21 days, don't expect the other person to answer you immediately, because they feel like responding immediately isn't something of interest to them, so they probably don't expect other people to answer them. But I've had these situations come up where that's what I think. Like, people are like, oh, they must be busy. They get back to me every week or two. They're probably not expecting to answer right away. But then it comes up like, oh, so they don't answer me for 2 weeks. So then they send me a message, and 3 or 4 days pass, and I'm like, they're probably not too interested. I'll get back to them in a week or whatever. And they're like, 2 days pass, and they're like, I sent you a message. Did you get it? And I'm like, yeah, I sent you a message 2 weeks. Like, I didn't think you really cared. Not out of spite, just that I didn't think it was that important to them for me to answer right away, because they don't answer right away. So understand that your expectations should be similar. So if you take a couple weeks to answer someone, don't expect them to answer right away. Wait for a couple weeks, because that's the precedence that you've set of your expectations for them, and then their expectations of you. So understand that as well. More details in my book called Random Thoughts for Entrepreneurs and Business Owners. You can get more details. Shoot me a message if you're interested, and also do some one-on-one coaching. Check you out on the next video.